Hello everybody, happy Monday again. Welcome back to my video and this channel. This is my follow-up video for The Ghost We Keep, where I give you recommendations on this book. The Ghost We Keep review has been released about an hour ago, and so if you, it should be in your subscription feeds, but if you have not watched it, I will link it below. Check it out. It will be in the description, and of course, I'll be back next week for another review. But anyway, these are my recommendations. So when choosing these recommendations, I thought about, themes that ran through the book that I wanted to highlight in these recommendations, as well as other things I liked. The main theme of this book is an exploration of grief. But if that was the case, I think I would only have one book to recommend. So other things that were covered in this book definitely was change and the reason for moving on from grief, as well as family dynamics and in general heavy emotions and heavy topics. And I think it did it very well, just saying. So without further ado, here are my many books and 2 anime series that I recommend for your consumption after you read The Ghosts We Keep. And we start actually with this author's first book, I Wish You All the Best. This is mainly a romance, but it does deal with a few of the things that are present in this book. So you probably have heard me talk about this a lot, but you know what? I will continue doing so because this book is good. And basically, we follow our main character, Ben, who comes out to their parents as non-binary, and they uh they they basically come to their parents as non-binary, and they're kicked out of the house, and they move in with their sister Hannah, and they are enrolled in a new school, and they meet Nathan, which is who is someone he met in his new school, and we kind of watch their romance progress. But besides their romance, we also watch as he deals with mental illness and anxiety. He does go to therapy, and he ends up dealing in that for he does end up dealing with um anxiety and panic attacks, which is what he gets, and he does have to deal with his mental illness. So I think that's something that is really important to read about, and it's something that's actually very present in The Ghosts We Keep. And I like it. I think it's a good thing that this is being written about. I don't know a lot about it, but I have done research before on anxiety and things like that. So I do like that it's being written about, and and that I am actually be able to read about it, because I don't read many books in that deal with that. So I do like that this is something that both of these books from this author talk about. So yeah, definitely read it. The next book is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This one is written kind of almost like a mystery, but it does explore grief in a way that is so emotionally heavy. I remember I don't know if I did, but I remember feeling like I wanted to cry by the end of this book. So yeah, I did feel that way, that I wanted to cry by the end of it. And um basically the we follow our main character, and I'm sorry that I cannot remember the name. But we follow her, her story, and basically her best friend Monday has disappeared, and nobody knows what happened. Nobody will tell her anything, and she's trying to figure out where, what happened to Monday, and everything. And throughout the way the story is written is in past and present, where we get flashbacks to their friendship, and how they met, how their friendship was forged. Well, I don't know about how they met, but like in general, how their friendship was formed, how it continued, and how the whole disappearance kind of came to be and why she's so worried. And we deal with very heavy topics in this book. So when reading, my trigger here, although I didn't mention, I guess I didn't mention it for the first book, but definitely it does talk about it. Like, I already told you kind of what the first book talks about, but this one, I will say a trigger for child abuse and mainly child abuse in general. There's abuse, and it's their family dynamic is very toxic as well. So when it comes to Monday, so when reading, definitely keep an eye on that in case it might bother you. So yes, the next two books are all from the same author, and these are both romances with strong family dynamics. And they are Red, White, and Royal Blue and One Last Stop by Casey Mcquisten. I reviewed, by the time that this video is coming out, I reviewed One Last Stop 2 weeks earlier. I'm actually recording this, within literally the day after I reviewed One Last Stop. But basically, Red, White, and Royal Blue is an enemies to lovers romance. And we follow, what is his name? Oh, we follow Alex, who is the first son of America. This is basically almost like an alternative universe in a way, where Donald Trump is not our president, and we get a woman president. So we follow Alex, and he is the first son of America, and Henry. We don't follow his point of view directly, but technically we are following Henry, Prince of the UK, and Prince of Wales, I guess you can say. But basically, they are originally arch rivals, and mainly because Alex considers him an arch rival, nothing else. But however, something ends up happening at a party, and they have to fake a friendship, and from there, their relationship develops, and then eventually it is discovered. But I'm really not spoiling the discovery because it's actually in the synopsis, so it's okay. But yes, it is something that is that's discovered, and then we see as they deal with that. This book has strong family dynamics, a lovely romance, and just great friendships as well. Awesome friendships. And One Last Stop follows August, who ends up meeting this girl on the train. And, she has this 70s look, Jane, the girl on the train. And we find out that Jane doesn't just look like she's from the 70s. She is from the 70s. She's actually displaced in time. And August is trying to figure out how to get her back, even though she's going to end up losing, the woman she loves. So from there, we follow their romance, as well as the mystery behind Jane's story, and it's so cute. It is so cute. Again, here we have a great romance with an interesting plot, as well as a great family dynamics. So definitely read for the family dynamics. The next two books are also by the same author, and they also follow great family dynamics. And those are Again But Better and Better Together by Christine Riccio. I have also reviewed Better Together I've also read Better Together a couple of weeks earlier, so I will just mentioning that, I will I will try to link the reviews that I have that I have reviewed in this channel so far. So you can check it out in the description. I will try to link that below. But anyway, Again But Better follows Shane, who goes to study abroad and ends up falling in love. But to go study abroad, she kind of lied to her parents and had them think that she's going pre-med. And basically, she does fall in love. However, eventually she ends up, she's discovered, and she ends up actually studying as a doctor and all that fun stuff. However, in 2017, when she's kind of done with her career and taking these interviews to go through, I think it's called the residency. I think that's what it's called. I think. Do not quote me. She ends up, meeting with with the guy that she fell in love with previously, and she gets a second chance to redo things in 2011 due to some magic. This has very interesting family dynamics as well as a cute romance, and it does explore I think a lot of expectation, which I think should always be explored, because sometimes people have expectations that we may not be able to follow, and the exploration of those things was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Better Together is basically Freaky Friday meets Parent Trap. Two sisters were separated in their parents' divorce, and they end up meeting again at a Rediscover Yourself retreat, and end up following this plan where they would spend time with their respective parents and eventually confront them. However, due to some magic, they actually end up changing appearances so that for everybody, they actually appear as the other. So Jamie appears as Siri and Siri as Jamie. And it's interesting because we also get two romances, because Jamie starts falling in love with someone she met at the camp, and Siri starts falling in love with Jamie's best friend. And it's very cute. It's very cute, as well as we have great family dynamics here as well. And so it's amazing. It's an amazing family dynamic, an amazing romance, amazing romantic comedy in general. I enjoy it. The next two books or two series really are from the same author as well. Wow, I did 6 recommendations from the same author. Oh, I love it. Okay, so the first, they're both from the same author. One is already done, and the other is still ongoing, and those are Throne of Glass and Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Now, when it comes to Throne of Glass, I would have loved to just recommend Heir of Fire, which is the main book that I really would love to be read, because that's the one that really recommends that really goes for that it is the one where the healing arc is explored. And honestly, I still think that is that's still Sarah J. Maas's best healing arc, is still in Heir of Fire. Best grieving and healing arc, because each of her books has like a healing arc. It doesn't have to always be grief, but like the main thing that happens in her books, from what I read so far, is a healing arc. And due to that, usually something strong happens, and because of that, it tends to be that way, that they have like a strong they tend to have a strong healing arc. But the best one still, I think, in my opinion, is still the one for Heir of Fire. So just wanted to read my spiel there. The second is definitely the one in Crescent City, and the third, actually no, the third is A Court of Silver Flames for Nesta, and then the fourth has to be A Court of Mist and Fury by for Feyre. I'm sorry, Feyre's in last place, but honestly, it just works. Anyway, my spiel out of the way, my little rant out of the way. Throne of Glass, the reason I recommend Throne of Glass, however, is because you do, I feel, need to read the rest of the series, or the first few books at least of the series, to know how this grieving / healing arc kind of goes in order to understand it. So Throne of Glass follows Selena Sardathian, who is also known as Otterland's assassin, and the series itself starts off a year after she's been in the salt mines of Endovier, and then the prince comes to set her free as long as she is his champion in these games that his father is planning. And at the end, she will become the king's assassin and work with him for like 4 years or so, and then gain her freedom forever and eventually leave, basically. She gets to do whatever she wants after that. And so she ends up accepting, and she has to basically fight 23 men, which are pretty much all criminals, and she has to basically win the competition in order to win her freedom at the end. And then it continues from there because it gets very interesting. But the series itself, not just the grieving and healing arc in general, Air of Fire takes place after events of Crowd of Midnight. But also, this series explores a lot of different heavy emotion. So one of the things I would definitely want to mention is that in the last book, Kingdom of Ash, there is capture and torture. So keep if that might affect you, definitely read it in your own space. But there is capture and torture, and there are a lot of things. I haven't reread Throne of Glass in a while, so I can't remember everything, but I do remember that part from Kingdom of Ash. In general, Air of Fire explores a healing arc and a grieving arc because she is grieving for spoilers here, the death of a friend, and she is grieving for this person, but also she ends up healing from her previous. She ends up kind of dealing with her. She's dealing with her like with her previous trauma as well, and we learn a lot of her backstory. It's very interesting. Crescent City, which starts off with really House of Earth and Blood. In Crescent City, we follow who do we follow? Oh, we follow Bryce, who is and we follow Bryce, and her friends get killed, and she ends up like, she also suffers that night as well, and we also see her grieving her friends through through different flashbacks. But 2 years after the death of her friends, the people that killed them end up resurfacing, and they end up killing other people. And now she, along with Orion, or Hunt Athalar, end up, because he's kind of both, but Orion is just better. They end up teaming up to figure out who killed her friends and who is basically doing that now. It does explore a very interesting grief arc. It's a very long book. It's slow burn, by the way. House of Earth and Blood is a very slow burn book. So it's a pretty big book. It's like 800 pages. So when reading, definitely know that. The last book on my list is Know My Name by Michelle Miller. This is a nonfiction book. I talked about it at least once in this channel, but this is the memoir of Michelle Miller, who was raped. I believe it was in 2015. It was a very popular case at the time, and she was raped by in a college party, and it's a very hard read. I'm just saying, by the way. But she was raped in a college party, and this is the memoir. This is her memoir of the time that time and the trial and so many different things. There are so many things to unpack in that book that even I cannot do it justice by telling you how much it explores. But there is, again, a trigger for rape and trauma, because, again, this is traumatizing. That rape itself is traumatizing. So there is definitely a trigger for that. So yeah, it explores a lot of emotions. It's very, very heavy, very, very heavy in the emotions. So yeah, one more book actually I want to recommend. I know this is the last book, but this one just occurred to me, and that is okay, wait, what is it called? Oh wow, I forgot the name of this book, guys. I am sorry. I am sorry. What is it called? It's by, let me see. If I remember, okay, I'm gonna see if I can find it because I know I read it last year and it was a really good book. Hold on. Let me see, because I know I can like find it here. Author of, no, not that. If I can find that book, it would be great because it's a really good book. It was also a debut book. Is it called, I think it might be called, is it called Vanessa? I think it could be called Vanessa. I know the main character's name is Vanessa. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can find this book, guys. I'm gonna see if I can find this book. Okay, guys, I found the book. Yay! I was close. It's the last book I want to recommend, even though I said that the Strawberry was the last one, but it is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. There it is. That's the book. I remember I loved this book when I read it. It is very heavy, again, in emotion, but basically My Dark Vanessa is written in past and present, and we follow our main character, Vanessa, who ends up in a who ends up within an affair. She's 15 and she ends up in an affair with her 40-year-old the 42-year-old teacher, and basically she doesn't realize, that she's being manipulated, but basically we kind of see her in the future as charges of pedophilia are being basically charges of kind of statutory rape or a pedophilia or something in that form. I can't fully remember the exact details of the book. I'm sorry. But basically, as they're being brought up, and she is now dealing with the fact that she was manipulated and abused as a minor by an older guy. It's very, very hard to read. It's very... It handles heavy topics, and it's extremely emotional. So just be ready for that. And of course, my 2 anime I want to recommend are Ouran High School Host Club and Fruits Basket. Hey, who didn't see... I'm surprised if you did not see it coming. I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if you did not see it coming, because this is something I'm pretty sure could be seen coming. But basically, Fruits Basket follows we follow Toru as she moves in as she ends up living at first in these people's land as their in like as a almost like she's first like camping, but then eventually they discover her, and when she ends up finding out, however, that when the Soma family gets hugged, because she's in the Soma family land at the time, she didn't know at the time, but anyway, when a person from the Soma family gets hugged from the opposite sex, they turn into an animal from the Chinese zodiac. Yeah, an animal from the Chinese zodiac, and basically they so each of them is a different animal for... Yeah, they're under that curse. So now we kind of follow her as she ends up uncovering all those secrets, and it's so interesting. It's so good. And it does explore some emotion as well. It does explore some interesting topics, such as acceptance in one of the episodes. I definitely related to one of the characters more than the other. But yeah, it was very interesting to see how they handled all those topics, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful anime. What can be said? It's a beautiful anime. So yeah, it's lovely. I cannot I cannot praise it. I cannot praise it enough. I cannot praise this anime enough. So, Ouran High School Host Club is, you've seen some of my reactions, but I'll link my playlist below as well for Ouran High School Host Club. And basically, we follow Haruhi, who accidentally ends up looking for a place to study, but ends up like going into this abandoned music room and finding out about the host club, who is this group of guys who basically um they basically do, you know, what they can to, they basically do their best to like host, you know, women. And they basically are like they basically are like these rich guys who entertain rich young ladies as well. She accidentally ends up breaking a vase, which costs 8 million yen, and now she has to work off her debt. It talks about some different themes, as well as, knowing, like, especially the theme of change. And it's a good anime to watch. I think it's also very light. It's also very fluffy. Or High School Host Club is like, in it's similar to, I think when I watch Ouran High School Host Club, I get the same vibe as when I read Harry Potter. I have that same vibe as well when I watch Fruits Basket. It's a classic 2006 anime, and it's pretty and it's amazing, and it's lovely, it's lovely. What else can I say? Anyway, those are my recommendations for today. That is the end of my recommendations. And I hope you guys enjoyed these recommendations. Let me know if you read or watched anything I recommended. Let me know how you feel about the recommendations. If you have any more recommendations, let me know in the comment section. Also, if you have any video requests, you can also comment down below or contact me privately in the places mentioned in the description. And of course, be aware that any inappropriate messages will be ignored. I am not up for that. Anyway, give this video a thumbs up, and it'll really help me with the algorithm. Smash the like button, destroy it, but it'll help me with the algorithm. I really appreciate it. And subscribe if you're interested in more content. I post at least once a week. Monday is basically Bookish Monday, because I post pretty much everything having to do with books on Mondays. And I am super, super, super excited. I'm super excited for the next few weeks. You're gonna get great reviews, I feel, and I'm just really excited to see your reactions to the next few reviews. So with that, I will see you in my next video. Bye.